Just Eff It. Hi, I'm Romy, an identity coach helping others who struggle with their sexual identity and families of queer youth find their path of understanding and acceptance.
And I'm Carla, a mom empowerment coach empowering moms to own their new identities and motherhood journeys.
And together we are the EFFing Madres. We are here to invite you guys into stories of some inspiring madres
who have changed their lives through an Eff It moment. So here we go. Just Eff It.
Okay, everybody, happy Monday. We are the EFFing Madres. I'm Romy. This is Carla. Carla, take it away. Who are we?
Well, like she said, I'm Carla, this is Romy, and we're two moms, two best friends, two girl moms and Latinas, and we said Eff It almost 2 years ago and started this podcast and wanted to have conversations with other moms who have had those big mindset shifts and said they're not careless efforts. They're very fully loaded, like intentional, purposeful efforts to make a big change in their lives, and it changes obviously their life and that of their families, whatever the outcome, whether good or bad. It's been for the best for everyone because you just learn such new things about yourself and about everyone around you and just have new perspectives, and you've learned a lot. So we hope that this inspires other moms out there to take that first step, because it's always super hard to do that, but it's so worth it in the end.
It is. It's so worth it. And today, it is Monday. We have a madre, that's going to come on and share her story. She is someone that I met her at the Ace when I worked at the Ace Hotel right before I got pregnant. She was a guest there. And she had known who I was from the L Word, and we just kind of like hit it off. She is doing her own business online. She's, looking beautiful in her 40s, raising boys, like boy mom. And I've always just like looked at her and been inspired by her. So I had asked her if she would like to join us. Happy Monday. Carla, go ahead and bring our guest in.
Yeah. I'm just caught with how beautiful her hair is. So if you're watching the YouTube video, I was like, Pantene Pro V commercial. My God, the shine. Okay. So Rochelle, we're going to jump right into it. First question is, what brought you to say Eff It and made you shift your whole life, essentially, that you're going to share with us today?
The fact that I didn't want to leave my baby. I didn't want to go back to work full time and hire a babysitter was what brought me to do it. I just had my first baby. I wanted to stay home with him. I had to choose between staying home with him or going back to work full time. And so I very reluctantly quit my job and became a stay-at-home mom and dwindled down my double income household into one income, which was scary.
Nothing boils my blood more than the fact that you had to make a choice to either work or take care of your baby. Why can't we live in a place like in other countries where there is a support system that allows for you to do both? I can't fucking take it. It drives me fucking nuts.
Me too.
Sorry about all the fucks.
I also know, Rochelle, I think every one of us made that decision at some point when we became, Carla and I are one parent, one kid only, kid only moms here, right? And our first babies, when I got pregnant, it's the decision of like paying somebody to be there for your child, or you being the mom that just has your brand new baby. And you financially, it makes more sense to be home than it does to pay somebody. And you're losing your income, but also you're spending your whole income on somebody like being with your baby right when they're born. And that's your bond. Like, it puts moms in a position of like, do I just work to pay for the person to take care of the baby? Or do I remove that income to then be the mom that's actually there? It's you're not going to win either way, but the only win you get is being home with your baby, basically.
Exactly. And I just realized that I wasn't going to be able to work efficiently all day, knowing that my baby's at home being bottle fed when I was wanting to be a breastfed mother, well, does that make sense? And the
breastfeeding mom,
nanny or the babysitter or my grandma or whoever was watching my baby was going to be seeing him laugh first, seeing him walk first, changing his diapers, telling me how his day went. And I wanted to be the one to do that. and I was going to miss it if I had to go back to work. And luckily my husband made enough money to where we could cut some corners, and then you know, I could stay home. And it wasn't easy.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, have you always worked? Has that like just been your trajectory? Is just always working?
Absolutely. I've got that. I'm a very independent person. Very first job I could get when I was 16, I worked. I bought my own cars. I paid my own bills. I mean, I lived at home till I was 23, but I paid my own bills and I got my shit together. Very from the jump. I've never been somebody that's needed any handouts, needed help from my mom. I paid for my own wedding. I mean, I paid for everything myself. I don't have a silver spoon. And so I've always worked and always provided for myself and my family. So it was hard for me to make the transition from working basically my whole adult life up until that point, to not earning any of my own money and being a stay-at-home mom and relying on my husband. That was a hard transition for me, and it felt bad for a couple years. But also, on the same side of the token, it felt amazing because I was raising my baby, my dream child, you know, and I wasn't missing a single second with him, which also drove me crazy, by the way. But but it was worth it.
You kind of have to your identity in this space because you've identified as someone, and that's a really hard thing to pull back. And now you're stepping into the identity as a mother. You don't really know what that role looks like, but you know that it is extremely different than what you've always been. Like, they don't talk about the emotional transition that happens when we do that, which there's a lot of emotional identity stuff happening in that.
And I think for me, it was like you're saying, learning my new role as a mom. And what's really sad is a lot of moms deal with postpartum depression or postpartum hormonal imbalances, which makes you feel depressed and like you don't even know yourself, your body, or who you are, what you're doing. And then on top of that is losing an identity in the workforce and losing an independence that comes with making your own money. Well, when you're married, it's your money, our money, but there is a sense of earning your own money and contributing financially. And when you lose that, now you're like relying on your husband. Can I go to Target? I just spent $200 at Walmart. Is that okay? Like that kind of thing. That was really hard for me too. And so compounded on the hormonal imbalances and then my bank account imbalances, that was rough. I mean,
yeah, I mean that I think it's probably one of the hardest transitions. I can only speak for myself, but hearing from a lot of moms, sounds like one of the hardest transitions that they've ever had in their lives, because you literally go from knowing how you've been to this completely different person having to work a completely different way, and it's like your identity has been so locked into what you did that now it's like, but I'm not doing that anymore. What am I? Who am I? And it's not great that we tie up our identity into what we do, but like we do. It's kind of a inevitability to not associate like your identity with the work that you do, and it has to shift when you become a mom. And there's like a transition period for a long time. Like I always tell everyone, I felt like I was in a limbo. Like I didn't know. I was like, this person looked like this person, but felt like this other person, but I didn't know who that person was yet. So it was just like, it was fucked. And they don't prepare you for that part. Like, I wish someone would have just said, you're going to feel a little lost for a bit there. That would have helped a little bit.
I think people try to tell you, especially as new moms, other women, mothers that have been mothers for years, or they're new mothers, and they try to give you advice. Oh, it's going to be, your labor is going to be like this. You're going to lose sleep. They try to give you advice and try to tell you what their experience is like and try to give, but you're never going to understand. You can't grasp it until you go through it. So you can't. You're not.
You cannot.
You can't understand what that sleep deprivation is going to look like, what your body dysmorphia is going to look like, what your identity dysmorphia is going to be like. You know, they can tell you're blue in the face, but you're like, yeah, that's your experience. But then when you experience,
Yeah.
see, and try to turn around and then try to go tell the next new mom, like, oh, this is going to happen. But you know that you're just really talking to a wall, because you can't experience it until you actually experience it.
I'm curious, is like, once you decided to like stay home and be with your baby, what kind of opportunities started to open up for you now that you get, this is the decision I'm doing? Like, how did that change your life?
To answer the question about the opportunities that opened up to me, I mean, right when I had my first baby, Instagram wasn't a thing. I was still like, MySpace was turning into Facebook. So for the first 4 years, there were no real opportunities. I mean, I thought about going back to work when my son was 4 and in preschool, but then I got pregnant again. So I'm like, definitely not going back to work now. And I have 2 babies. Like, who's going to watch my 2 Rugrats? And how much are they going to charge me for that? And then when I had my 3rd baby, because I had my last 2 back to back, I had my 3rd baby. My very first Instagram post was me 9 months pregnant with my 3rd. This is in what year was he born? 2012. He was born in 2012. And my very first Instagram post was me being pregnant. So I post that. And then as I'm, growing on that platform, I posted my journey through motherhood. I would post the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I think that's what gained my following, because I wasn't one of those cookie cutter, perfect life, perfect mom accounts. So I would just share my journey through motherhood and all the ups and downs, and a lot of people related to it. I gained a following. I started getting brands that would reach out to me. Hey, would you want to promote this? We'll pay you. And then I saw sort of an opportunity to make some extra money on the side without leaving my babies, which was amazing. So I took those opportunities.
Yeah.
I said, F it. And I was like, sure, I'll do that. Sure. I like that brand. Sure. I'll post that. Why not? I'm already using it. So I took those opportunities and said, F it, I'll try to get into this influencer space when it was very new. And that was very helpful for me and us financially for a lot of years. It has been, and it's grown and grown and grown. The whole influencing social media space has grown exponentially since I started in 2012. And it's just gotten, it's evolved, but I saw an opportunity to make money without, or get brand deals or make money on social media, utilizing the following that I built without being an influencer. I guess I was influencing motherhood. Like, we were commiserating on that more than influencing at that time. But I saw the opportunity and I was like, why wouldn't I take advantage of this? This makes so much sense. Thank God. They're giving regular people, not famous people, opportunities to promote their brand. And it made a lot of sense. I was like, this is awesome. I'm in. And if I make enough money doing this, I don't have to go get a job. I can just do these brand deals, and I can do it at my own pace and what feels natural to me, and on my schedule, and when my babies are napping and all of that, and pick them up from school. I had my own schedule, which made so much sense. That's what I wanted. So, I mean, I was willing to go back to work. I'm not a lazy person. I'm not like, I'm not working forever. I wanted to go back to work, but I wanted a job or to do something that I was passionate about, that I could work my own hours, that I could decide when and where and what I was doing. And the social media influencing brand deal collaboration, the whole space gave me that, and nothing else would. I mean, I can't call up a company and say, hey, I want to work for you. I'm really good at what I do, but I also don't want to work until 2, from between 2 and 7. I can take holidays whenever I want. I couldn't lay down that law.
Exactly.
You really got in on that small window at the perfect time. It's like when Jennifer Aniston and David Schwimmer and all of them got into Friends, and then that never happened again for anybody I mean, it happens for
Right.
more and more people on social media, but like you got
Yeah.
in at like that perfect time, and that is so amazing that allowed for you to be able to have essentially what you wanted, to be
Yeah.
able to stay home with your babies and make some money, because that was the effort moment you had to decide to give
Mhm.
up. So
And I had to
I'm curious.
sacrifice. I mean, there was a lot of sacrifices when I had that effort moment. I was sacrificing my retirement. I was sacrificing my benefits. I was sacrificing my income. I was sacrificing a big chunk of what I had built over the years. So it was a sacrifice. And for a lot of years, I wasn't making any money.
Yeah.
In the influencing space. I wasn't bringing in. So I had to sacrifice, extra dinners or buying clothes that I wanted to buy or trips that I wanted to take. There was sacrifices that were made, but it was worth it to me. So the F it moment was like, F it, I'm going all in and I'm going to do whatever it takes to be present with my children, to be in their life constantly and not be like, oh, mommy has to work or, you got to go to your babysitter or whatever,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a lot of work. It's a lot of work. There's a lot of perks to it. Learning to balance
Yeah.
things.
And I
Yeah.
think finding your rhythm and your groove when you're setting up a work day for an influencer I hate that word. I really do hate that word, to be honest.
Find a new word.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think more so I'm a capitalist. I capitalize on what opportunities are presented to me. So when you're finding a balance and creating your work day, scheduling, like, okay, so for instance, as an influencer, if I know I need to create content for a brand or for my own businesses or whatever, I allot an hour or two, however long I feel like it needs to take. So for the next 2 hours, I'm going to sit down and do my emails, create content, whatever it is. I give myself that hour. And then once the hour is up, whether I'm complete or I've finished the job or I've completed whatever it is or not, I stop. Then I go, okay, now for this next hour, I'm doing laundry. And I chop up my day to give myself the maximum output. You know what I mean? Because as an influencer or as somebody who creates content, and gets paid for it, the time that gets put into something like that, you don't get paid for that. You get paid for the actual content. You get paid for the output, not what the back end stuff. So I have to really manage my time. It's a time management thing and really set my priorities straight. So my priority is always my family first. So I take care of them, get them now that they're older and they can get off to school. Then I come home and I sit down and I allot my hour or two. And then I get to my housework, my dishes put away, all that other stuff that I have to do to run this house. And that time management, I think that's what helps me make it a job. And I clock in and clock out, gotta treat it like a job. Mhm.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think that's super helpful
Yep.
to do that way, because you also feel, even if you don't necessarily get something done that day, you have worked towards that. And I think
Yes.
that alone psychologically feels like, okay, I did what I needed to do and now I can move on to the next. But if you don't
Right.
like time block it that way, especially as a mom who has to juggle so many things, I think that's where a lot of moms feel like they're just like all over the place when they haven't figured out how to do that. So I think that's a really great way. And it doesn't need to be like 2 hours for one thing. It could be even like we always talk about, like even 15 minutes towards something small. Like you're just like taking those baby steps to accomplish the thing that you need to accomplish every day. I think that's a helpful thing to hear for moms.
It's kind of like going to the gym, right? I go to the gym every day. I spend 45 minutes there, but that's my schedule. I drop my kids off at school. I go straight to the gym. I give myself 45 minutes, maybe sometimes an hour and a half if I'm feeling really good. And then if my day lots it, and then I go home, do my protein shake, and then there's like a consistency thing. So when you stay consistent, it becomes a habit and it becomes part of your schedule, and you put yourself into a routine. So routines are great for everyone. Routines are great for kids. Routines are great for adults.
Yes.
If you don't have a routine and you're ADHD and you're like all over the place, squirrel, then you're not going to get anything done. Then you are going to feel overwhelmed because you feel like you need to do everything at once, and you cannot do that. You should not do that. You should slowly my analogy about going to the gym is, sure, you can go to the gym and work out for 45 minutes and think you're going to have abs. No, babe, you need to go consistently
Yes.
to get the
Yeah.
abs or whatever it
Yes.
is. So you can't just,
And one thing about forming these habits, because what you say, going to the gym has become just part of your schedule, it's a habit, is like all of these things that you've never done before are going to feel very uncomfortable. And that's where people are like, "Ooh, I don't want to do this. This doesn't feel good." But the minute you stay consistent with it, it just falls into your day perfectly because you have made it part of your routine. So that's what's really
Right.
important about like taking those steps into doing that, because it will become more seamless as it becomes a habit. So habit
Right.
forming it's a thing. Habit forming is hard, but it sticks once you keep going. I want to jump into the next question. So when you said F it and you really made that decision, like, okay, I'm either going to go to work or I'm going to stay home, and you decided to stay home, did you learn anything about yourself in this new journey of becoming a stay-at-home mom? Were there any positives or negatives that you were like, oh, I didn't see myself like this, and now I am. I like that. I don't like that. Just curious.
Did I learn anything about myself? I mean, I learned that I can I can work off of zero sleep. um,
Yeah.
that I can like literally go to sleep for 2 hours and wake up and be like, "Oh, I got to change over the laundry." I think I learned that I'm capable of balancing more responsibilities than I thought I was able to. I thought when I was just a working person, pregnant, I was only responsible for myself. I would go to work and just balance my life. I learned once I quit the job, I was able to spend less. I was able to do more. I mean, I did a hell of a lot more not working and just being a stay-at-home mom than I was when I was just a single person.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm capable of balancing everything. And sometimes there's lots of balls in the air and some of them fall, but I learned that I was stronger. I was a strong, independent person, but I learned how strong I actually was, and how less I need to be happy.
It's so true. I feel like all of us, when we became moms, we actually saw how much more we're capable of. I know for me, and I know even for Carla, we've learned so much about ourselves. And I'm like, damn, I'm a bad bitch. Like, I can handle a lot of really well under pressure. If no one slept, if I'm out all day, I need to recover, right? I'm not gonna be able to function. This is too much. And then you become a mom and you handle that laundry, that school, that schedule, that summer, and your job, sometimes your partner stuff. I'm like fucking CEO over here.
That's why I coined the term, Romy, a long time ago. And I don't know if I made it up or I heard it somewhere, but it's my term. I call myself a domestic engineer because that's what I do. I engineer domestically. I run this ship. I am the captain of this ship. And I mean, I can run a whole ass company with the stuff I deal with in my house. I'm HR. I'm a maid. I'm a taxi driver. I could do it all. Okay. So I thought about that. When I thought about going back to work when my kids were in school, I thought about what would I tell the hiree or the person that was trying to hire me? What would I tell them my skills were? I've been out of work for 10 years, like not in the workforce for 10 years. What am I good at? I'm like, shit, I could run this place because I could do everything. I'm working hard, got it. You got customer complaints, got it. Customers, got it. Like you need me to be your personal assistant. I've been a personal assistant for my husband and all three of my kids. So like I could do it all. So I don't know. I mean, you're right. I'm a domestic engineer.
That just gave me that's such a gift you're giving to people, because I was just like, oh my God, any mom could put that on her resume and then just get an LLC of her name. And then there you go. Like, that is what she's been doing. No one would question that. Be like, wow, domestic engineer you're an entrepreneur. Like, literally, you could put that on a resume and it should fly. And so thank you, Rochelle, for solving that for what to put on the resume. That was amazing.
I want the moms that are going back to work to be like, I'm a domestic engineer. Here's my resume.
Like you should be me because I can handle it all.
Oh, I love it. Okay. How did you keep yourself motivated to keep going when things got really hard?
I think having my partner, my husband, was the biggest help for me. He is I'm self-deprecating. I have it's contrary to what you may see, I do suffer with low self-esteem, self-doubt a lot. And so I go down lots of rabbit holes in my own head. I don't see what other people see in me. People see, oh, you're strong, you're this, you're capable, which I know
It does
these
make sense.
things,
Yeah.
but I struggle with believing it. It doesn't make sense, but struggle with believing it about myself. So my husband, he's outside of me. He sees what I do. He sees and he tells me and he listens to me cry about it. And babe, you can do this. Babe, look what you've done. Babe, he's basically my biggest fan, my biggest cheerleader. He's my motivator. You can do anything. Look what you've done. He's the one that shines the light when I'm in the darkness. So for me, it's talking to him and really spilling my guts in a way that I'm very vulnerable with him, and he lifts me up and shines the light on the stuff that I see that I can't see or I'm not seeing or whatever my mental block is that I don't see. It's been him, honestly.
I've seen you guys together in person. That's how I met you guys together, at the Ace. And like, he just adores you. Like, you are his queen. And it is very apparent, even meeting you guys, I was like, man, this is like couples goals. And then you watch them just put each other first. And it's a really beautiful example of like a relationship.
It took me a lot of years to get him to train him that way, by the way.
Yeah. We do have to we do. You have to train. You ultimately, when you get in a relationship, you kind of have to train each other to do what the other person needs of you. And it's that's why those first few years of marriage can be hard, because you don't know how to do that. Like you have to really get the communication down. And it sounds like you guys have done that beautifully.
I mean, it took 8 years. We were together for 8 years before he actually proposed to me. So,
all right. I'm in 6 years with my husband, so still some work there.
I put in a lot of work. You're married 6 years or together 6 years?
Together 6 years. Together 6 years. Yeah.
I've got 26 years together.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
They've been together forever.
You're do an online course.
I know.
That's another way you can make money.
Teach me the ways. I'm over here failing marriage after marriage.
I don't know what they are. I guess I'm good at manipulating. I don't know.
No, it's called persuasion. That's better than manipulation. Okay. How would you describe yourself now, today, versus the Rochelle before saying F it?
I would say whole. I'm more whole because I feel like I know more about myself. I know I'm more aware of my insecurities. I know I'm more aware of my capabilities. I surprise myself more as to when I do say F it, I surprise myself like, oh, I am capable of that. I can do that. Even though I was independent before, I feel more independent now because I am willing to take more risks. I'm willing to do more. I know I can do more. I feel more whole as a person. I mean, I've kept 3 boys, very rambunctious boys, alive for 16 years so far. So I really feel accomplished. But I think if I was to describe myself now versus before my F it moment, I feel more whole. That's the only way I can think of.
That's a beautiful, that's a beautiful way of saying, like, to look at your journey as becoming a mom, because I think most of us before becoming moms can't really say that we felt that, like those younger years are just like so messy and yuck, but like to be able to step into motherhood and now look back and be like, I'm more whole. That's just such a beautiful message. And I'm so happy that that's where you're at. Like, I hope that is where most moms are. I don't know if that is though. So,
I mean, I don't know. I think we lose ourselves a lot of times. You lose yourself when you're a teenager, then your early 20s, and depending on your story and how your journey is going, you're constantly rediscovering parts of yourself that you didn't know existed, and
Yes.
you're constantly reinventing yourself. I mean, the Rochelle that I was when I was going to the Cowboy Boogie clubbing and trying to get into like backstage at concerts is not the same Rochelle now, although I know I could still do it. I don't have the same mindset. I just feel more in my skin. I'm still learning about, I mean, as I move into raising teenagers, now I'm learning more about myself and my childhood and the stuff that drums up from my childhood and becoming a mother, and how that translates into how I'm mothering my children. I'm learning and learning. So I feel like motherhood is a constant learning journey, and you're reinventing yourself constantly based on where you're at. And right now I feel whole as a person, but I know that there's more to come, and I'm gonna be learning more about myself, and there's more to come. And so I'm excited for that. And I feel equipped to embrace the changes. And also it's scary as hell. I mean, it's really scary because things change constantly in motherhood. I may have a 17-year-old that is joining the Air Force next year, and that's scary as hell. I don't even know what I'm gonna do not having all three boys in my house, because it's been like that for 16, 17 years. And so I'm going to go through another change, right?
We talked about on our last episode, it brings up our own childhood stuff. So many women are afraid to effing reinvent themselves or evolve. And if you are open to doing that as you grow, then yeah, it's going to be an effing evolution, right? For the rest of our time in motherhood.
Yes, and to piggyback on that, when you're not open to that change, which that change is inevitability, you can't run from the change, and you resist, your journey will be full of frustration and anger and bitterness, because you're fighting against something that is naturally evolving. Like motherhood is an evolution. And so you have to just let go and go with it. And it's fucking hard. Like, I'm not great at it every day, but I know that that's something that I have to do, because otherwise I'll essentially be like my mom, like just miserable because she was fighting against what was happening. And that's not what I want to be. So surrender goes back to surrendering.
Yes. Yes to what you said, Carla, in terms of us like becoming our mothers or not evolving and not growing and allowing that evolution to happen, which is ultimately what the journey that we're supposed to be on, right? That all of us are on. My final question then would be, what is your message? What words would you leave to anyone listening and to your children?
My message would be that you're stronger and more capable than that you're stronger and more capable of doing whatever it is that you want, whether it's being the best mom or being a career woman or whatever. You're stronger and more capable than you think you are. And you don't see yourself the way other people see you. So whatever the version of yourself that you see, other people see you in a completely different light. Like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So whatever you think of yourself is not what other people think of you. It's usually better. Usually other people think that you're way better than what you are, what you believe you are. So I feel like you're stronger and more capable than what you believe.
I think that's great. That's great advice, because we are all our own worst critics. And I think especially as moms, we're always beating ourselves up every day, like the mom guilt thing, which is such bullshit, but we have it. It's like, it's just there. So I think that, and that's been a real testament for me this week, like talking to a friend who's like, but Carla, you this, you can do this, you can do this. I'm like, but I don't see that. And it's like, other people really do see things in you that you don't see, but you got to start believing it and believing in yourself.
I mean that, and then nobody can do the work for you. You have to really believe what they're telling you, about yourself. You have to just shut off the negative voice. You have to shut her up and listen to the people that are giving you the positive and telling you all the things that they see in you, because they don't, they're not in you. They see something great, and you want to believe that. It's easier
Yeah.
to believe the negative things. It is easier to believe the negative talk. For some reason, it's easier to believe that and to live in that. It is harder to believe, like, maybe I am good. Maybe I am beautiful. Maybe I am capable. Maybe I can do that.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. It comes from
Yeah.
within.
I think that's a really beautiful message. Thank you. That it's a good
Yeah.
reminder to everybody. I'm so grateful that you made time to come on here. I know you are a busy, busy mama, and I just want you to share where everyone can find you. Content CEO. What are you? Domestic engineer. Where can they follow you?
I'm on Instagram at Rochelle XO, spelled like Michelle but with an R. XO. I'm on TikTok. I don't post on there that much because I just like to watch. I binge on TikTok, but I do have a TikTok following, and I think that's it. I mean, don't follow me on Facebook because that's for my family.
Yeah, same.
Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your message and your story. And this is where we're all going to say, just F it. Why don't you start us off?
Just F it.
Just F it.
Just F it. Okay, everybody. So, Carla, we're coming to an end here on season
3.
Wow.
Yeah, this will be our last episode for season 3. We are taking a break, just like everyone needs one every once in a while. We're going to still record. It just will allow for us to catch up and have great, exciting episodes for you ready to go come season 4 in a month. So enjoy your time. We won't have any new episodes out until the month, and obviously we'll let people know when that will be, but we're saying a month from now. So
Yeah, go listen to like the old episodes that you haven't listened to. They're inspiring. Take some time, spend some time with the last 3 seasons, and we'll be back in a month with some new ones.
Yeah, basically we'll be back June 3rd. It's May 3rd. We'll be back June 3rd.
Awesome.
So, all right.
All right.
Enjoy.
Adios.
Adios. Bye.